So the last thing is...
My name's David, I'm 46 years of age and I've been a Muslim nearly 5 years now. I was born in Manchester, I'm from the UK. I was born into a Church of England family, Protestant, but we weren't religious, my parents weren't religious. We'd only go to church sometimes at Christmas, now and again at Easter. So I can't really say I was brought up a Christian as such, although officially I was. So that was that. And then in my early 20s, around 18 to 21, I started to question things like like many people do. Who am I? Where do I come from? What's the point of everything? Those questions you start to ask, and I started to get more interested in philosophy, and I went to university, of course, so you read about things, and I very quickly became interested in Roman Catholicism. Partly as a result of looking into my family background as well, my family history. I have a very small family, so I started to wonder, who actually am I? Aside from who am I from God's perspective, who am I actually in my family as well? And I soon came to realise that there's a great deal of Scottish and Irish ancestry in my family. Some of that I knew about, but what I didn't realise are how many of them were Roman Catholics. And I thought, well, how on earth did I end up being in the Church of England, not Roman Catholic? Through a strange quirk of coincidence, both my parents were also Church of England, although each of them had a parent who was Roman Catholic. But it was the wrong parent because they didn't decide on their religion. So I became very interested in Roman Catholicism. Partly through the imagery, I'm sure. I was very attracted to that at that time. It is very appealing and interesting, and I started taking lessons in Catholicism in the local church in my first year of university, and I went to lessons for about 7-8 months. So I didn't just jump in. I was very careful with the decision and took lessons. And in Easter, I think it was 1992 or 93, I got confirmed and became a Roman Catholic, and was very committed as well for a good 3, 4, 5 years, going to confession, going to Mass regularly, trying to live by the principles of the Roman Catholic Church, which weren't always easy for a young man at university, very difficult at times. But over those years, and I was living with good friends at university, we used to talk and discuss things and ask lots of questions of each other. And they would often ask me about Roman Catholicism, what about this, what about those popes who did this, and what about contraception and the priests can't marry, and do you agree with that? And it made me think, actually, I'm starting to struggle a bit here with some of the answers, because I'm not sure I agree with some of them. So the more I delved deeper as well, and actually was honest with myself, which was the really key thing, I realised there were so many things I didn't like about the church, the Roman Catholic Church in particular. And that's still the case today, to be perfectly honest. Many things I think are wrong. So I became a lapsed Roman Catholic, which so many do, probably by my late 20s, early 30s. And I just kind of gave up on it completely, didn't go to church, didn't do anything. And then I had a period, I suppose you might say, of agnosticism, stroke atheism. I just wasn't really sure what I believed. I was just, I was floating, I was drifting really, in my spiritual life for a good few years. And then I met a friend, and I was introduced to Islam, the Quran. I'm always happy to read things, new things. I haven't got a closed mind, I don't think, at all. I bought a copy of the Quran, and I was kind of pretty blown away by how logical it was, and how there wasn't anything really that I think, that doesn't make any sense. How can that be? And it was all very logical and made sense. Whereas compared to the Bible and some of the principles of the church, there were so many things that I just thought that makes no sense whatsoever. They ask you to believe in God as Islam does, but they ask you to believe so many things, you think that's just not possible. Whereas Islam, it doesn't. It's very straightforward, very simple, to my mind. It's a nice, easy, well, maybe not easy the right word, but it's a nice guide for life. It helps you live a clean, healthy life. So again, with Islam, I read the Quran a few times. I went to classes at a local mosque. I didn't just jump in. I don't tend to jump into things. I like to research and make sure it's the right thing for me. And I learned how to pray myself at home, and I realised it was the right thing for me. It was helping me clean up my act a little bit. Not that I was a very bad person or anything like that, but I just needed to clean up a little bit, and it's made perfect sense to me. And And then I took the plunge in April 2012. I haven't really looked back since. Personally, myself, I didn't have too many concerns. I can laugh about it a little bit, but I was a bit worried about not having a bacon sandwich again. I must admit, I used to love bacon sandwiches. Silly little things like that. I thought, I'll never have an alcoholic drink again, which, I think that's a big ask when you're used to that kind of thing. But, obviously those are not very important things. The big concerns were, I suppose, how my family and friends might take it. Because Islam is a very topical subject at the moment, has been for the last 15-20 years. A lot of people associate some very bad things with it. I was worried that my mum might think I was going to become some crazy jihadist, or even how her friends might react to me being a Muslim, and they might say bad things about Muslim in front of her and she could get offended by that. So I was a little worried about those things. But as I said to you earlier, I have a very small family, only my mother and sister and my elder daughter. And, I just explained to them what I was doing, why I was doing it. Nothing's going to change about me in the obvious sense, apart from the fact that I'm sure I'll be a nicer person, a kinder person, a better person. And I'm sure that has actually happened. So I said, you won't see me dressing very much in long white gowns and growing a very long beard. I'm going to be the same person, don't worry. Just hopefully, God willing, a better person. And then it became the practical things, like when I go around for Sunday dinner, I'd say to my mum, look, I can't eat that chicken or that beef unless it's halal. And my mum's, such a star, really. She'll happily come to Cheetham Hill, she doesn't live far from here, and she'll go and buy halal for me. And she had no problem with that from the beginning, because obviously it's the same meat, it's just been killed a slightly different way, so they don't care as long as it's, meat. So really I shouldn't have worried about them. They've been absolutely fine. And my daughter as well, no problem whatsoever. In fact, I think I've increased her belief in God as well, to some extent, hopefully. With my friends, that was a little more hard for them to kind of understand that, because most of our friendships or our relationships were built around going to the pub, meeting there, not necessarily drinking alcohol. Sometimes I wouldn't anyway. If you're used to doing that kind of thing and drinking alcohol, it's probably best to stay away from it as much as possible, because you're just making life harder for yourself. So I just withdrew from that environment, and I wanted to anyway. And some of my friends didn't like that, and they thought I was kind of rejecting them to some extent. But, I just had to think, well, look guys, I have to do what's right for me at the end of the day. I can't live my life for you and for a Friday night or a Saturday night. And if it feels right for me, and we're still friends, we can meet for a coffee somewhere, and we can go to each other's houses. We still be mates, obviously, but I just can't come to the pub regularly and do those things anymore. And some of them have been okay with it. Some I don't see as much of now, but that's the way it is, and I'm okay, and I'm sure they're okay as well. I think it's just made me more of a calm person, a happier person. And I know that sounds a little cliched, and happier. I can't say I walk around with a big smile on my face all the time. I smile, but certainly it's made me just a little more aware of things, socially aware as well. I'm a lot more charitable than I used to be. I was somebody who used to give money to homeless people from time to time, but I try and do it a bit more often now. Or I'll give money to Syrian charities or Palestinian charities or whatever, things I would never probably do before. And realise how lucky I am that I've got a job earning X amount of money and have a nice warm house to live in. And it's just made me think, well, I'm very lucky. Everything's not perfect, of course. It could be better, and of course, in certain areas. But I've got what I've got, thanks to God, and I have to help other people. That's why, God has given me a nice, comfortable situation, thankfully. And it's my responsibility when I see bad things going on that I can do a little bit. It's not very much, I know, but I have to do a little bit. It's calmed my personality down. I could be a little bit of a hothead at times, and sometimes I can in the right situation. But Islam teaches us that yes, it's okay to be angry. Anger is a normal emotion in the world we live in, and the relationships we have sometimes will make us angry. But you've got to be careful how you manifest that, and that's not always easy. Still, sometimes I get angry, but it's just made me think, whoa, hold on, this isn't the right way to behave. This is not acceptable, and it just. It's that little almost good thing in your brain goes, think what you're doing here, be careful. And it's just made me just more aware of myself, and, so it's brought me back to earth, as it were. I would say make sure you visit your local mosque, speak to some Muslims there. understand the basics, the fundamentals, how it will change your life. You know, and if your local mosque offers classes on understanding Islam, absolutely take those up, because you can learn so much through that. You can make good friends, good contacts, people you'll know possibly for the rest of your life. So, you know, do your research, learn about Islam, and when you're ready, just do it, because you won't look back after that.